Mystery Secret Searchers, Episode 31, Part 2, Men Gone Mad. Well, we heard the stories from Martintown and the Old Bridge as John McLeod searched through Glengarry for a place to hide the sword. The curse of the sword was taking its toll in Glengarry. Many settlers were going mad as a result of the curse. Many committed crimes. They ended up in the Cornwall jail. Cornwall was a prospering city in Upper Canada. It was a major settlement, but further west, more development was going on, especially down near York, which is now Toronto. And eventually Cornwall was forgotten. Was this also the curse of the sword? We're not sure. Many men that knew of the curse and knew of the sword that John McLeod was trying to conceal, they had problems. Crimes were committed. There were many things that were done where men ended up going to jail. Was this because of the sword? We don't know. Here's a little bit of the history of Cornwall. Cornwall was involved, of course, in the War of 1812. The settlement of Cornwall. On June the 6th, 1784, Lieutenant Colonel Sir John Johnson, we've heard of him, led a group of United Empire Loyalists to the British Army depot on the height of the land on the north bank of the St. Lawrence River. Within 4 months, the group numbered 215 men, 87 women, and 214 children. At first, the settlement was simply called Newtown, but then was referred to as New Johnstown. Within a few years, the town has been changed to Cornwall. These people, who remained loyal to Britain and its institutions, had to defend themselves against the Americans during the War of 1812. From June 12, 1812 to February 16, 1815, the United States was at war with Britain. Canada, or Upper Canada, was the battleground. The war represents an extremely significant chapter in the history of Canada and of the United States, during which the Americans came very close to taking over Upper Canada, which of course is now Ontario. In 1812, Great Britain had been locked into a long war with France. The British Royal Navy enforced a blockade of Europe to prevent supplies from reaching their enemy. British-born sailors manning ships from neutral stations, even those carrying American citizenship papers, were pressed into the service of the Royal Navy. The primary American war objective was the conquest of British North America, primarily Upper Canada, Ontario now, and Lower Canada, which is Quebec now. Cornwall was one of the largest settlements in Upper Canada at the time that war was declared. It would emerge as an important garrisoned town, communications and supply posts during the War of 1812. The population of Cornwall was several hundred at the time. Protecting the St. Lawrence River lifeline was its important part. The St. Lawrence River was the lifeline for the movement of goods and supplies between Montreal and Kingston, and as such it was crucial that it be protected. Every soldier and sailor and weapon needed to fight the war in Upper Canada passed through Cornwall. Deemed by the military to be nearly indefensible, nonetheless its strategic location at the head of the St. Lawrence Rapids made its defense crucial. Throughout the war, a number of skirmishes took place as American forces tried to disrupt this supply route. It is estimated that 4,000 voyageurs and 800 bateaux worked along the shores of the St. Lawrence River, carrying vital war supplies to the upper province. Local men were recruited to protect their homes, and the invaders were organized into 4 sedentary military regiments: the 1st Dundas, the 1st Stormont, and the 1st and 2nd Glengarry regiments. They wore regular clothing and used American Revolutionary vintage weapons and served without uniforms in supply and scouting functions. The Glengarry Light Infantry was mobilized in 1812 as a British Army battalion. Detachments of the Glengarry Fencibles fought across Upper Canada. Members of the unit were distinguished from their regular British troops by their green tunics as opposed to the red British uniforms. And then we came across the Cornwall Museum, which is a United Empire Loyalists rebuilt house from 1840. And we found this plaque to the Great Irish Famine. The Celtic Cross again. There's the Celtic Cross, with an odd secret language built into it, the language of Ogham. While the origins of the language of Ogham are not clearly understood, it is a unique and mystical language. It was used in Ireland from the 4th century to the 9th century. Ogham is an alphabet of about 20 letters and can be found on over 300 stone monuments across Ireland. It may just have been used as a code by John MacLeod so as to prevent uprising against the sword and the curse in Glengarry. As more people found out about the curse, John MacLeod needed to keep it more secret. Known as the Celtic tree alphabet, each of its 20 characters or trees is made out of a vertical reference line or stem with one or more slashes or twigs, which make up the sounds of the Irish language. It is read vertically from bottom to top, or up the tree. Old myths say that it was conjured up by the Celtic god of eloquence. More scholarly speculation suggests it was invented as a secret language, indecipherable to neighboring British tribes. That's what John MacLeod may have used it for. Still, others think it was created by early Christian communities who found it difficult to translate Gaelic sounds into Latin letters. It is found on a lot of stones throughout Ireland, and one of significance is the one called He Who Was Born of the Raven. And we know someone who was born of the Raven. That was John MacDonald and John MacLeod, and John MacDonald were acquaintances. Could John MacDonald have told John MacLeod about this ancient secret language and used it then to help hide the secret of the cursed sword of the Clan MacLeod? Stay tuned. Come on back for the next episode. Who knows what else John MacLeod is going to discover? Please like, share, and subscribe.